Welcome to this Warpath YouTube video, and today we're going to be looking at the Forge Father tanks from Mantic Games for their Firefight and Warpath game systems. They're a bit too big to use in Deadzone, but they're still pretty amazing kits, so that's why we're going to have a look at them today. So, we've got some laid out in front of us here. We have a Sturm Hammer, which this happens to have the heavy Magma cannon top on, but it can also have a Hailstorm autocannon turret. We've got the Draka APC, Armoured Personnel Carrier, and then we've got the Brande Urban Assault tank, which has the Flamer on top, of course, and this great big shield at the front. So you can make all of these from the same one kit, which is pretty smart actually. And they all look very, very space dwarvy, which is awesome. I really like these models. They're very easy to put together, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. There's actually very little difference between building most parts of these vehicles, but there are a couple of small differences, and we'll go over those in a moment. So you can see I've got some of the components out here. I'm actually going to do something slightly unusual because I'm going to start with the turrets. What you get is a big bag of bits, which includes these three different types of turret. You also get all this stuff over here, which I'll show you in a minute, which is how to build the actual tank. And then you get a small bag of little tiny bits and pieces, which I will just go through shortly. I'm actually going to take some of these bits out though for a moment and put them on one side because they are for the tank. And like I say, I'm going to build the different turrets for us. So we can start with the Brande Urban Assault version. So this is a Flamer tank. You have a bottom, all of these have a bottom and a top for the turret. And then you also have this Flamer that needs to go in here. So you can see that fits inside very easily. There's a little lug for it to sit in, and it's already fairly stable. We're going to dry fit all of these and they should be fine. That again goes in fine like that. No real problem there. And then you've got the canister, which has again some lugs on the side, and that just pushes in like that. And you can see it's wobbling around a little bit, but if you just glued that, it would be absolutely fine. And that is the turret for the Flamer one. Dead easy. Take that bit off there. See those little lugs as it goes inside. Take this top half off again, which I should be able to do. And like I say, just that resting in there, but when you glue that in, you can see that'll be dead easy to do. So that's that one. And a finished article, as I'll show you before, is fine. So that's the Urban Assault one. The next one I showed earlier as well, is the super heavy Magma cannon. So this is it. It's just two pieces, this really. Go together no problem. Whoops, won't even come apart. So just loads of fitting pieces, just pushed together dead easy. Tiny bit of tidying up to do. And then there's really only a couple of extra bits. So there are these like coils that come off here. I guess they're coils, not quite sure. Yeah, they fit that way around. There's two different sizes of them, but they fit round there. There's one either side, that's these two. And then there are the actual sort of turrets with the sort of flash mark or whatever it is, which go on the front here. And again, fine. And you can see the finished article of that one right here. So that one is dead simple to put together. The final main turret is the dual Hailstorm auto cannons. So these are a common weapon on the Forge Father vehicles. So again, you've got the two parts of the turret. Okay, they're just pushed together. Line them up properly. Yep, push together fine. We have these are sort of reels of ammunition, if you see here on the sides. So they just push in. Wrong way around though. That way round. There we go. So that bit's facing forwards because I'll show you what that is in a second. And then, because you have to put this on here. So there's the sort of the bit that would allow the elevation of the turrets themselves. See that fine? And then finally we actually put the guns together. So the guns, one comes with 2 lugs on that side, the other one with small holes. So we just fit those in together. And obviously when they're glued, and you can see that they're angled, and the angles are to go into these holes here. And there we go. That is now a finished turret. Again, dead easy, and quite similar in look to the ones on the sort of Yoton heavy artillery piece, and there's the finished one itself, all glued together fine. You'll notice there's a couple of bits left. These are for the armoured personnel carrier, and I'll come back to them when we actually do the armoured personnel itself. So let's build ourselves a tank. So we have a central body piece. There's an angle at the front that goes towards the front, because if you had that sort of beard effect, didn't it, at the front? They're dwarves, aren't they? So they have beards on everything. First off, we're going to have some tracks. So the tracks are 2 different sides to them. You can see that there's a small holes in here cut away so that they can fit together. As that goes on that one, and there's another one the other side, of course. And we now are already looking like a tank. We then need to put 2 sides on, and we can put a front on. So let's put a front on first, actually. It doesn't really matter too much, actually. So the front's just going to rest on like that. Fits in a little bit at the front there, but it's not quite static yet, so it needs a little bit more to do. So we'll put the sides on. Now these sides line up using these bits here, across here where you see these holes are, these gaps here. So we're going to slide that on, and again we're just dry fitting these, but they should stay together pretty nicely from previous experience. And you can see already our tank is looking pretty mean, but of course not complete. So we're going to build the tank versions to start with. So we're going to use this part here. This needs to slip down here, and another one on the other side. You can see it fits in nicely in there. You see these bits just slip inside. There we go, and already looks pretty tasty. Now for the tank version, we need the one with a hole in the centre. So there's 2 different roofs. Okay, the one with a hole in the centre for the tanks, all of the tanks. That's the Brandir and the Sturmhammers, and this one for the Drakkars, only for the Drakkar. And this, you can see there's a big hole here, and big pillar here, and there's a big hole here which goes straight into a long column. And we can just put that straight on top, and that is us done. But hang on a minute, we're missing a bit. Okay, so you can see at the back and the sides there is a gap here. Now that's important because there are 2 different backs to these tanks, depending on whether you're building the armour personnel carrier or any of the tanks. So all of the tanks are exactly the same. I'll just show you on one of the tanks actually that I've finished. So here is the tank, and here is the armour personnel carrier. So you can see there's a slight difference. This one's straighter, and this has a different angle to it. And if we look at them properly from the rear, you can see that there's different panels on there as well, and all these are provided in each set, so you can produce whichever one you wish. So we need to find the right set, and what we have to have is this one with a little dwarf-sized door at the back. But remember those little bits I put aside before? We need to find the right ones that fit this together. So this just goes on like that, pushes on dead simply, and then you can see there's a gap here. So we had 2 options. We had this option, big square one, or we had this one, a small, more triangular one. And it's the smaller, more triangular one that's going to go in here. But actually, to put it on, we want to put it on before we put that back door on, so I've taken it off now. We then put in, let me show you properly on the camera. There's a 2 small holes here, 2 small holes on the, 2 small plugs on this one. Push that into there. I'll push the other one in the other side as well. And then we push our back door on. And there we are, dry fitted. It just fell off the front, but And that is pretty much it. There really isn't anything else to do except put on whichever of the turrets we want to use. So if we want to use a hailstorm one, we'll just put the hailstorm on. Pew, pew, pew. If we want to use the magma cannon, there we go. Sound effects not included. Also, of course, we could build the brandir. So the brandir is meant to have a front shield as well. So this is the shield. Pretty smart. But it doesn't really fit on perfectly with, well, it fits on fine actually, having said that. So you just glue that straight on. You can see how it literally glues on there onto those front panels, and it's fine. But it's meant to have a little bit of a side bit on here. See, there's a slight cutaway. So that's these other little bits I didn't really show too much of in the bag. So there's these small bits here. Oops. Which don't look very much, and I don't think they're 100% necessary, but they look okay. And you just literally glue them on the sides. And they provide like an extra little bit of armour, I guess, an extra little bit of scoop to this shield. See it on the side there. I'm trying to do it very well. I'm going to show you the finished one. You'll see what I mean by then. So here's the finished one on the front with those scoops on the side there. And again, just literally glued on, dead easy. I guess you could probably magnetize this if you wanted to have complete versatility, so you could change just the turret, and then the only difference would be having a shield on the front of the brandir. I've just glued this one because it's not that difficult to do. And obviously you could run the brandir, I guess, without the shield if you really wanted as well, which would be fine, of course. But yeah, looked very, very good. I like them a lot. So, alright, let's go back to our tank. Let's say we didn't want to make our tank, we wanted to make our armoured personnel carrier. So, let me just put it to one side for a second. The only extra bits we have for the armoured personnel carrier are this bit here, which is a little turret, a new roof, a new back door, and those two sides I mentioned before. Plus, remember from our little bag right at the beginning, we had a couple of small bits. So we have a small hailstorm rifle barrel and a little cupola for the front. And I'll show you how to change that now. So you don't have to change very much actually. You start with the tank you had. We just take that back door off. We take those two side panels off because they're for the tank ones. And we take the roof off. And everything else is the same. So let's put our new roof on. Again, it's a similar sort of thing. We've got the same big pin there. That big pin goes in. Adds a little bit extra height here at the sides. And of course it's flat on top, so no hole for the turrets. We then need these side panels on, like we did before. So we just put these on here, and they're a bit flatter. You can see they're a squarer back, isn't it? Pop the other one on the other side, if you can get it to stay on without any glue. And then we have our different back here. So this one is that way is the top. This way is the top, sorry. And it should, he says optimistically, just slip onto there. Oh no, it's all exploded. This is what you should glue this stuff. It's crazy why I'm doing this without glue. Madness. Oh, there we go. As Ross Diggle would say, knocked his back doors in. Right, there we go. There. Right, good. Oh. That wasn't very difficult, was it, really, to put back together? So there we go, there's the back on it. Sort of like a hatch that would open up, isn't it, to allow the troops to disembark. There's the sides. Right, and we are looking pretty good. That's almost where we're at, except we need to, this is a bit too flat. So we slide that little bit on there. And then you can see there's a little gap here as well. So we put our little cupola thing on there, and that makes this bit into a viewing port for the officer, or presumably the tank commander or driver. And then we have a small gun as well, which we just put the barrel in, and we are done. That is our armoured personnel carrier. Pretty smart, eh? I really like that. Hugely versatile, like 80% of it's the same kit, whatever you want to build. Really, really good.